gridlock between the President and the House of Representatives, because the Republican Party, after all, has turned decisively to the right.
The Republican Party now has control of the House, which means they have control of the budgeting process. So there will be a lot of government hearings on how monies are spent. There will be efforts to reduce those expenditures. That's not necessarily unhealthy. Asking us how we spend the public's money is okay. Gridlock, I hope we don't end up in gridlock. One of the things that has been true in divided government in the past is that it has led to a number of very unproductive independent counsel investigations or commission investigations or endless hearings on small, minor questions as opposed to addressing the larger issues of the economy, of how one deals with the environment, of how one guarantees a family wage, of how one provides for the common good. I would hope that we won't return to those days of government by investigation and government by hearing, but I'm also certain that politics being politics, some of that will be there.
Now, I know that the United States President has the prerogative to conduct American foreign policy, but the Congress still has a role to play in this area, especially when regarding money bills and what have you. Do you envisage any change in American foreign policy as a result of this?
Well, you know, the election almost had nothing to say about American foreign policy. It didn't even have very much to say about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And indeed, perhaps in what it didn't say is the message, and that is, as 2008, there were large numbers of Americans who were greatly distressed by the cost and the inchoate purpose of the Iraq war. They are reasonably satisfied, it seems to me, in terms of how the President has wound down that war and reduced our troop presence, brought up the training of the Iraqi military as well as the support for the Iraqi government. There are still serious questions to be asked and answered about Afghanistan and the length of our commitment there. I don't believe the President's going to be changing impulsively his policies on that. And again, because the Tea Party and the Republican opposition didn't campaign on that issue, I don't think they have much of a mandate to change their international posture. More importantly, in the next several weeks, the President's coming to Europe, participating in a summit, coming to grips with the fact that the European Union is, in fact, surviving some great challenges of its own, internal economic challenges, and that we are in a common economy where both of us, both the United States and Europe, wants to manufacture more and have a greater presence in new economic markets. I think that's really a challenge for the President in the immediate years ahead. We have 10% unemployment in the United States. That's obviously not satisfying the needs of the political will. How does one reduce that level? It may be that we've now satiated the demand of the developed world, and we have to really think about addressing the needs of the Southern Hemisphere, of the developing nations, new markets that need basic infrastructure and the kinds of things that, well, America actually is pretty good at, like building roads and infrastructure and schools and hospitals and the like. I think the President is going to want to turn the focus of our economic recovery package and our international diplomacy in that direction.
One last question. The Republican gains were substantial, but there wasn't a political earthquake. The Democrats still controlled the Senate, and the gains in the House of Representatives were large, but perhaps not as large as some of the opinion polls had suggested. Do you think some people got cold feet at the end and stuck with President Obama?
I think by and large many of these elections were locally determined, and so that there wasn't a national referendum for or against President Obama's policies, because I think you can look across the nation and see very, very different economic circumstances, sometimes producing contradictory results. Take Nevada, for example. Senator Harry Reid, majority leader, re-elected in one of the highest unemployment states. I think that reflects the fact that in many cases these elections reflect local concerns and local considerations. So I would tell the president this morning, there's been no national referendum on health care. There's been no national referendum on his desire to bring greater accountability to the financial world and the banking system. Instead, what we have is impatience. What we have is the ability of voices in the media to bring out the kind of populist nature that exists, I think, in any political system, but certainly exists in the American political system. And so I would counsel the president to simply let Obama be Obama. Don't put that audacious hope in the drawer. Take that audacious hope out for another spin. Because why else be in political life if one doesn't bring the highest values and the highest commitment to idealism and principle? There's no point in just simply being reactionary to a given midterm election. That's never been Barack Obama's nature. I don't think he'll withdraw from the possibilities of actually having government achieve the common good.